Hi, preschool. We are going to do our Bible story for today, and maybe you've heard of this story before. It is from the New Testament out of the Bible, and is a story that you might like. Maybe you've heard it before, but it's about a little girl. And so I hope you'll listen and see what you can learn from our story today. The man in this story, some people pronounce his name Jarius, and some people I've heard say Jarius. But I'm going to pronounce it Jarius, okay? All right, so sit up and listen and see if you can learn from our story. It's a good one. Jesus loves all little children. He loves boys and girls just like you. One day, Jesus was busy teaching people. A man named Jarius came and fell down at Jesus' feet. Jarius was very, very sad. And the reason he was so sad was because he had a little girl at home that was very, very sick. Well, Jarius said to Jesus as he fell at his feet, "Oh, my little girl is very sick. She's about to die. But if you'll come, Jesus, I believe that you could make her well." Because Jarius believed that Jesus could make his daughter well, Jesus started out on the road to go to Jairus' house. But many people were crowding around Jesus, wanting to see him and hear him. There were always people that were coming around. We've talked about that wanted to come and see his miracles and the things that he did and hear him teach. And so there was just a huge crowd of people always around him, it seemed like. Because of the crowds and how big they were, it took a long time for Jesus and Jairus just to go just a little ways together. And as they were walking, Jairus began to get more and more worried, and he thought, if we don't get there soon, I know my little girl's going to die. And while they were on their way, just as Jairus was worried about, someone came to them with sad, sad news. And do you know what that sad news was? They told them, "Don't bother Jesus anymore, Jairus. It's too late. Your daughter, she's already died." Poor Jairus. Could you imagine how sad he was? He knew if they would just gotten there quicker, he was so sad. But Jesus heard what the man told him as well. And Jesus, he said to Jairus, "Don't worry, believe me, and your daughter will be well." So they kept walking toward Jairus' house. Now soon they arrived at Jairus' house. And many people were there. They were crying and making loud noises because they said the little girl was dead. Jesus looked at these people and he said, "Why are you making so much noise? The girl is not dead. She is asleep." The people, they did not believe Jesus. They knew she was dead. And so you know what they did? They actually laughed at Jesus. They thought he did not know what he was talking about. But we know that he did, right? Because Jesus knows everything. God knows everything. And he knew what he was talking about. Well, Jesus and Jairus went into the house and then into the room where this little girl was lying. The mother of the little girl was there with her daughter, and Jesus walked over to Jairus' daughter and he took her by the hand. And Jesus said, "Little girl, get up." And what do you think happened when she did this, when he said this to this little girl? At the very second, the little girl opened her eyes and she looked around and she sat up in bed. She got up and she walked around the room. Her parents were so excited to see their little girl was now alive. She was not sick anymore. And here's a picture of maybe what it looked like when the little girl sat up when Jesus told her. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't even have to touch the little girl. He just told her, "Little girl, get up." In his power, he was able to take this little girl and bring her back after she was already dead. You know what Jesus told the parents to do once she came back to life? You have any guesses? What do you think maybe he told the parents to do? Okay, well, here's what he told them to do. He said, give her something to eat. And I think sometimes you guys in preschool, you always say, Miss Jessica, I'm so hungry. When's snack time and when's lunch time? And I think this little girl was a lot like you guys. She sat right up and she was probably hungry. And Jesus said to get her something to eat. Well, Jesus also told the parents that not to tell everybody what happened there that day. And they knew, and we know, that only God could make somebody come back from the dead. Nobody else has the power to do that. But Jesus did that many times in the Bible. We read of where he would bring people back from the dead. In several stories we read in the Bible, he's the only one with that power. But do you know Jesus doesn't want people just to believe in him because he can do miracles or because he can do great things? Jesus wants people to believe him, to know that he is God and that he loves all of us, and to know how much love that he has to give to the whole world. He wants people to know that, and that is the reason that he came to this earth, so people could know about him and could accept him as their Savior.